Hey, hey, how we doing? Oh, yeah, the glare's back. Is that from here? No. Where is that coming from? Is it here? The lighting in here is so weird. I'm trying to get the lighting figured out since the. Nope, it's like, is it this? Is it the computer? What is that? Oh yeah, no. I think it's the. Wow, so bizarre. Can't be that. It has to be this. Yeah. It does. No, no. Where is that glare coming from? This is so bizarre because I is it okay, it's that window. I need to figure out the lighting in here because we're at the time of the year. This happened last May as well. We had the sun was coming in at a really weird angle. I don't know. I guess I should have had this. For those who don't know, I have a studio in my backyard. It's 190 square feet. It's not very big, it's basically like a man shed, man cave. What do they call it? And I guess I should have had it built at an angle because the sun is always hard to figure out. But see, now it's like really dark over here. It's like in the shadows. Ah, get the other light over here. Yeah, I got this other light. I'll just put this on so you can. It's always challenging to get lighting figured out. Thanks for being here. Can you hear me okay? All right. I don't know if you can hear me when I'm talking right now, but hello. I got 2 videos to react to today. There we go. I've got 2 videos to react to today. Can you hear me okay? Hello. You can hear me? Okay. Man shed? Yeah, where's the lawnmower? Good to see you here. Ladyboard was the first. Cool Banana, hello. Happy Friday. Nebulon. Fan Cools Quay, hello. Mrs. B is even here. Oh, the sound is still coming out of the left. Okay, let me change something here. Oh, no stereo. How's it sound now? Testing, testing. Is it both ears now? Okay, yeah. See I've been trying to get it louder because it was kind of quiet the last few times I live streamed, and when I was messing around with it, I made it so that it went stereo. But the problem with stereo is it only still records through mono, and so for most of you, like it's stereo on my end, but it's mono on your end, if that makes any sense, if you're aware of how. Yeah, like I just need to record in mono. Okay, well, we're here now. I've got 2 videos to react to, but they're short. I can't go too long today because Mrs. Beat and I have to go to our daughter's school for an event. This is a long one here. Wow. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the good work you do. Well, thank you. Your content has really helped me discover and explore my love of American history. 2 questions. Where can I buy that timeline of American history poster you showed off last week? And do you have any plans to do a FDR video like you did for Eisenhower and Truman? He's my favorite president, and I always appreciate a well-made video on his life. Thank you. Thank you, Pro Goaloid. The poster, I believe, every single video I release, I have a link to purchase it, so it's already available. And I actually get there's an affiliate link I have. So if you go to any video I release in the description, I have affiliate links. And it's better that you buy it from my affiliate link because then I get like a few cents from that. That was the deal. Matt, who runs Useful Charts, he set that up for me, and it was really nice of him. Of course, the latest poster I helped work on. So, but don't use honey. Yeah, I haven't used honey for. They sponsored me like 7 years ago, I think, and then ever since I found out how crappy they were, I never had them as a sponsor again. Yeah, don't use honey. Honey, don't use honey. Oh, Mrs. B is getting a link for you right now. Thank you, Mrs. B. She's still here. All right, so I have a video coming out today that is, I didn't anticipate releasing it. I just threw it together yesterday, last minute, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot, and that is artificial intelligence and its effect on student performance. Students are cheating more than ever using AI. Of course, these tools have only been available for 2.5 years, where you have ChatGPT or DeepSeek that can just write up essays, answer everything you could possibly want to answer in the style that you want, make it sound like you're a ninth grader, make it sound like you are authentically answering the question when you're not. It's just so easy for these kids to cheat. And so if you don't want to do the assignments, if you don't want to learn, if you don't want to put in the work, you're not curious, you don't have integrity, of course you're going to cheat. Because the whole point of it is just to pass the class, to get a good grade. I just, it's something I've been really, like, I've been thinking a lot about solutions, but I'm having a hard time figuring out what specifically would work best. So I'm really looking forward to what everybody has to say in terms of possible solutions. So anyway, the video drops here in a couple hours, probably 3 hours, and it's just about how most students are cheating now in high school and college, especially with essays, specifically with essays. And if I was still teaching in the classroom, I would be really struggling with this, trying many different things, but ultimately probably just going back to paper and pencil because that's the only direction left, I think. I mean, you even have to get rid of AirPods in the classroom because AI can feed students what to write that way as well, verbally. So, and you cannot catch it. I mean, if you got 35 students in a classroom, you're not going to always be able to catch that. So you has to be no electronics allowed when you're writing essays, no AirPods. It's just a really tough situation because there was an article I read in New York Magazine about a week ago, and that's kind of what inspired me to finally say something on social media about this and make this video. And it wasn't too surprising because I was a teacher for 12 years and I could see it coming. There's a paywall on the regular article, but I'm going to put a link to the non-paywall article because there's a way you can read it for free. So let's see here, because New York Magazine has a paywall, but I think here, give me a moment here. I'm going to get you a link so you don't have to pay to read the article. It's a really good article. It's kind of long. Yeah, MSN apparently was able to post this okay without the paywall, so there we go. And then Mrs. B, it looks like there's the link for that, so you can read it later if you're bored. Mrs. Beat posted the link for the Useful Charts American History poster. That's updated, by the way. We just released that a couple months ago, so very exciting. My thing is AI should absolutely be used at some point, but it doesn't mean we don't teach kids how to write. They still need to write. That's a really important skill. And that was the concern of the article. That's my concern. Many teachers' concerns right now is that students are not going to learn how to write. Oh yeah, there was also a New York Times article. That's right. Known Chatter, thanks for sharing that. Thank you, Mrs. Beat. All right, so let me share the first video I'm going to react to. This is recommended to me. I had 2 more videos that were shared with me on Blue Sky, so thank you for recommending those. One of them I'm not going to get to today, but I will next week. But this first one, like I said, was just shared with me, it was recommended to me on YouTube just anyway. So it's by the channel The Crusader, never heard of it, but it's called You're in the United States Every Decade. And this kind of reminded me of a while back I did a tier list of the craziest decades in American history. And so this kind of reminded me of that. So I think it's just a fun video. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. It's really quick as well.
Blow high, blow low, and so said we. I see a rector wing. We fired our guns and the British fit to coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago.
Rebels in the valley, Lincoln cries alarm. Jackson's in the valley, I'll fear to us harm. Jackson's in...
Teddy Roosevelt wasn't really that influential until the 1900s. So far, this is, they're just getting the highlights. I like how they mentioned the World's Fair here in 1893. But I've just finished a book about the 1890s, The Reckless Decade by H.W. Brands. I highly recommend it. It's a very similar time to right now. So, yeah.
Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the...
Sorry, why you gotta have a British band? Led Zeppelin is not American. Come on. Sorry, that's just something that... The emo song for the 2000s, I love it, yeah. And then MySpace on there. That's awesome. Oh, Mr. Beast.
And made it the administrative.
Oh, that's autoplay, sorry. Okay, so that was a fun little video. It looks... Ah! Why? Stop. Okay. This video is not sponsored by Simply Safe. So yeah, they it looks like the video, they were trying to also have songs that kind of represented the era for each decade. I wish they kind of went more into it. And the Wojaks were all used. I have not used a Wojak in one of my videos before. It just felt wrong for the longest time, but at this point, they're just so... It's such a part of mainstream culture. So weird how that just kind of took over the internet. the Wojak memes. Still, when you go onto social media, every day there's people sharing the Wojak memes. It's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, they missed the 90s grunge. They sure did. The deep state is not attacking me currently that I know of. There might be at least a psyop going on that's trying to influence me, but the deep state is probably just too busy to worry about my stupid little video. Okay. Goofy drawings are forever, that's right. Okay, here's the main video I wanted to react to today. It's called Why Politics Failed Gen Z. I think most of you are actually millennials in the chat here. Feel free to tell me if you are or not, but I have been watching a lot of Gen Z videos lately trying to understand their mentality during this turbulent time that we're living in. And this video also got recommended to me by a channel called Finding Sky. It's called Why Politics Failed Gen Z. And it's not too long. We'll check it out. But I think I've seen videos like it, I think. Basically, to me, Generation Z is becoming more and more like the Lost Generation. If you recall the Lost Generation, I made a video about the Lost Generation many years ago. It was the first generation identified by sociologists and just social scientists overall. But you had basically this whole generation of young people who came of age during World War I. And so, you know, when you're a teenager, when you're a young adult, you have your whole life ahead of you, and you're oftentimes optimistic and looking at different career possibilities, different career paths, and finding your passions, finding your circle of friends. It's just an exciting time, and it's, I think we forget if we're older that, you know, just how the world just seemed so wide open when you're 16 years old, 17 years old. And I think when we think about somebody who's bitter, cynical, stereotypically perhaps we associate that with older people. But this is, that changed with the Lost Generation, because as they came of age, they were watching the world end. Back then that was called the Great War, and it was the first time in which the entire world looked like it was going to destroy itself. They did survive, but even after the war was over, even after everything, the peace treaty was signed, the armistice actually, there were still a lot of young people who were disillusioned with the world, especially since so many of their friends had died. So many of their friends either dying in combat as a soldier or from the Spanish flu, and trying to return to some kind of normal life was just very difficult for a lot of these folks. Much of, if you want to get a good grasp of the Lost Generation, of course, Gertrude Stein is a good place to start. All of the Lost Generation artists. So if you just, there's a good, most of them based out of Paris, but, you know, of course, you had some great books that came out during this time. F. Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway. But a lot of them actually were pretty dark. And so bringing it back to the present, I think Gen Z in many ways is like that as well. Many of them are supposed to be optimistic, but they're actually quite cynical, pessimistic about the future. A lot of them are doomers. A high percentage of Gen Z folks are doomers. Many of them don't have much hope for the future. They think it's just, we might as well just... Actually, many of them who support Trump, I noticed, are kind of like, screw it, it's all going to end anyway. Climate change is going to ruin human civilization anyway. Extreme wealth inequality is so bad we can't even reverse it. Other major challenges that are just you know what? Screw it. Let's just focus on ourselves, our family, maybe our community at most, and go from there. And it's a very self-centered mentality rooted in the fact that the world has screwed them over. They don't have the same opportunities as previous generations. I mean, really, millennials, the same thing, especially younger millennials. I'm an older millennial, so I was lucky enough to have some opportunities when I came out of college, at least. Of course, the Great Recession kind of quickly put that to an end. But despite that, I was able to buy a house. My wife and I bought a house back in 2010. That was something like the prices back then are unimaginable for folks today, like how cheap it was. Plus, there was actually federal aid to purchase a home, actual just free cash from the government. I mean, technically not free, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I have a close eye on this generation now, especially because now they are coming out of college and entering the workforce and trying to find their own paths. And there's just a lot of despair still, unfortunately. So yeah, also called post-millennials. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Mr. Breast Life, that's right. Thanks for being here, Kane. Burn, baby, burn. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this other video. Again, the channel is called Finding Sky. There are a lot of videos like this, by the way. I get recommended a lot of these. Why politics failed Gen Z. So let's see what they have to say.
Gen Z's association of politics went no further than having to listen to their grumpy uncle groan about the Democrats at Thanksgiving dinner. But something happened, because now politics are seen as enough of a reason to end friendships. Not that long ago, Gen Z's association of politics went no further than having to listen to their grumpy uncle groan about the Democrats at Thanksgiving dinner. But something happened, because now politics are seen as enough of a reason to end friendships, split up families, and even justify violence. Politics have become about so much more than just social and economic policy. Each party now has its own culture, its own cohort of beliefs, and its own collective identity. The real psyop is that they've managed to divide America in half so that nationwide reform becomes impossible. This can be easily seen by how everything has become political. If you bring up an issue, it will be instantaneously labeled as either a right-wing or left-wing talking point.
The thing is, though, everything is political. Anytime you have more than one person in a room, it's political. Anytime you have more than one person interacting, politics is involved, because politics is simply how power is distributed. That's the definition, how power is distributed. So strictly, purely looking at that definition, politics is inescapable, unavoidable. Now, bringing it up is, I think, probably the more accurate thing for them to say in this video. Now it's brought up a lot more. Is that a good thing? I don't know. But at the very least, like, more people are aware of politics than, say, 20 years ago. For sure, 20 years ago.
The topic could be about anything and people will find a way to politicize it. If either side wants to dismiss your argument, they'll label it as either woke or alt-right. Cancel culture never ended, it just disguised itself as political activism. Each party has developed its own collective perspective. Even politicizing something as nonpartisan is working out. This has led to the normalization of political profiling. If you're gay, vegan, or own a cat, you must be a liberal. If you lift weights or on a carnivore diet or you're a man, then you must be conservative. You just took away one form of prejudice and replaced it with another. Bigotry is literally defined as prejudice against a person on the basis of their membership within a particular group. So cutting off family members and refusing to listen to someone who has different political opinions as you just proves that all the bigotry you gripe about from the other side is alive and well all the same within you.
Yeah, bigotry just means intolerance. So when we talk about bigots, usually people have a very specific person or type of person in mind, but I think we all can be bigoted at different points in our lives. We all have prejudices for sure. I think we should just admit that. It's okay. Like, nobody's perfect.
But I want to put our differences aside and look at the similarities we all have. Like the fact that we're all working jobs we don't love so that we can pay half of our income to have a roof over our head.
I am lucky. I have a job that I love and I can pay my bills. But for many years I did not. So, I realize that I'm very privileged at this point in my life, which is why I'm starting to speak out more about politics, and maybe I will be entering politics. I don't know. I feel like I have to do a lot more. I'm actually wanting to work on a bigger project. Can't say much about it right now, but if I'm able to make it work, it will have much more impact than just being a YouTuber or on Twitch. So yeah, that's an important thing to recognize, is that I would say about 80% of the population is what she just described, but some of us are lucky.
Searching for meaning in a culture that offers none. The petty political arguments are fake, but the struggle is real. We have a lot more in common than we realize. When you look beyond the trivial drama, you'll find that a lot of young people are angry, frustrated, and disheartened with their life. And I think that maybe that frustration is being directed at all the wrong places. You drive through an apartment complex and see half the windows have MAGA signs and the other half have pride flags. You're having a sign battle, but you're both struggling to pay your bills. You are not the enemy of one another. It doesn't matter who you voted for. Neither of them are going to help your situation because our political system is full of crooks. Has it ever occurred to you?
All right, so class revolution here. It's what I've been talking about for years. I hope that's what she concludes with the video.
That maybe you could be pointing the finger at the wrong people? Maybe they want us fighting each other so that we don't recognize we're all getting equally economically fucked. As wages stagnate and the cost of assets skyrocket, the middle class is gradually being squeezed out. The youth is being priced out of what was once basic standards of living. Our quality of life will slowly degrade, and politicians will still keep yapping about petty political arguments that the majority of Americans don't even care about. It's all a distraction, a ruse, a big show to keep you entertained. It doesn't matter if you're right wing or left wing. Both wings are from the same bird that's shitting on all of us. They're giving you something easy and digestible to be mad about as a means to divide the population. I already know what half of the comment section is gonna say. This is just left-wing talking points. You're just a brokey who wants to tax the rich. Listen, I'm so distrustful of my government that even if we did properly tax the rich, I have zero confidence that our government would actually use those funds to better America.
Let's see what the comments say, actually. This one did pretty well, so she probably has, I think, pronoun is she, but she probably has a lot of people watching that are not subscribers. So I'm sorting by new. So you have the same complaints Gen X had. I'm so sorry to hear that you could not go to college for your art career. Mostly nice, though. Mostly nice comments. Nothing in here about calling her a leftist or liberal, or you just want to tax the rich more. All right. Yeah, no. So far, comments are pretty awesome. Overall, there's always exceptions.
You're telling me that the US government, who already has boatloads of money, could get paid more money, and you think they're actually going to invest it in us? Call me a pessimist, but I don't fucking believe it. I'm not convinced either side gives a solitary fuck. I was reading an article the other day by Yes Magazine, and I want to share what one of the commenters said. We're coming into not being able to afford rent, not being able to buy homes, not being able to find jobs, competing for resources, and facing environmental problems. It doesn't matter if the leadership is Republican or Democrat. We've been facing the same issues time and time again. Nothing's really changing. It just feels like my vote doesn't matter. The candidates don't care about us. I would say that pretty much summarizes the political dread of Gen Z. Young people are starting to wake up to how shady and flat out negligent our government is. Mark Zuckerberg himself openly admitted that he was being told by the government to silence certain perspectives during the pandemic. USAID, that disguised itself as an aid company, is being exposed as a means to use our tax dollars to pay for transgender surgeries in other countries. Things that used to be conspiracy theories are now coming out as basic known facts.
So interesting about USAID. That was one of the programs, of course, attacked by Elon Musk's Doge, whatever you want to call it. Department is too generous of a word. But that seems like something that Elon Musk would have said, what she just said there about USAID. I don't know if that's true or not. You can fact check it on your own, but she just listed it out as if it was a fact. So I've never heard that before.
To use our tax dollars to pay for transgender surgeries in other countries. Things that used to be conspiracy theories.
Oh, well, Cool Banana says it's fake news. This is why I joined the voter apathy party. USAID was not funding transgender surgeries. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a sensational claim. I guess we can just look it up together here. Was USAID funding transgender operations abroad? So there's a press release by the White House. Well, factcheck.org is a pretty respectable. As President Donald Trump's administration targets the U.S. Agency for International Development for closure or major downsizing, that's USAID, the White House and social media posts have highlighted 4 projects as examples of the agency's, quote, waste and abuse, but only one was funded by USAID. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Where does it talk about transgender? Oh. Okay, it says here. Later that day, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt highlighted 4 that she said were emblematic of the, quote, the waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years. Quote, $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland. Oh, DEI musical. Now, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. Gosh, they're such snowflakes. Okay, there's nothing about operation. Yeah, this is just a AP here says claims about USAID funding are spreading online. Many are not based on facts. Okay, so it looks like this person just fell for some fake news. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure with that claim, but I don't know enough about it. This is just tip of the iceberg research here. But back to the video.
These are now coming out as basic known facts. The youth does not have any trust in the government whatsoever. I have a prediction. That's probably completely wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think politics will gradually start to become less divisive. As our economic situation worsens, people will no longer feel an appreciation for any candidate or either political party. They will just be angry at the entire system.
Yeah.
Angry about our government sitting idly as private companies monopolize America's housing market, for allowing the cost of basic education to become astronomically unaffordable, for failing to step in when the mainstream media is blatantly biased. Sooner or later, people are going to recognize that neither political parties have our best interest in mind. Gen Z already has a tendency towards distrust and nihilism. We saw this with the rejection of religion, and I think we're going to see it again with the rejection of politics.
I mean, this has already been happening for a really long time. If you're under the age of 40, this has been you for a long time. The problem fundamentally is you have people in power that are out of touch with that. And I think that's why so many people want term limits or representation reforms. Myself, I mean, term limits are good, but there are problems with term limits. I mean, that just means lobbyists will have more power. But hey, maybe I don't care anymore. Bring term limits, that's fine. Other reforms that I've told you many, many times, ending gerrymandering, political gerrymandering, that is, partisan gerrymandering, making sure that plurality voting ends as well. That includes getting rid of the Electoral College, or at minimum reforming it for the presidential elections. Expanding the size of the House of Representatives. These are all things that should happen. I asked members of Congress this just last week. I asked them, what are your thoughts about expanding the House or ending gerrymandering or ending plurality voting? And the two members of Congress I asked, there was one who was older, who was probably in her 60s, another member of Congress who was in her 30s, younger than me. She actually had way better answers, go figure, because she's not out of touch. And so the fact that we have so many elderly folks in Congress, we have an elderly president. I think once all these old people kind of either die off or retire or resign or whatever, get out of office, then yeah, finally we will start to have a lot of people who have been saying these things for, at this point, decades. I mean, the entire system is really messed up. It's rigged against working people. It's rigged against 80% of us. You have to either be extremely lucky, Hunger Games style, or be born into wealth in order to make it in this country. Most people are just born into wealth, nepotism, just inheriting stuff. So yeah, what this person is saying is nothing new. It's not like Gen Z figured this out. I think many millennials have been saying this stuff for at least for the last 20 years. I mean, think about Occupy Wall Street. This is the same stuff they were saying during Occupy Wall Street. Even parts of the Tea Party movement, this was being said back then. So it's long overdue for reforms. I think we are way past due for some kind of revolution in this country. I just hope that it's a peaceful revolution.
We don't care who wins. We want to be able to go to college and not have student loan debt for the rest of our life. We want to be able to buy a house, find a busty Latina, and make some babies. Not that anyone cares about my gay-ass dream, but I wanted to be able to attend a fine arts atelier and learn from trained professors how to make art like the greats. But, I majored in STEM instead because my gay-ass drawings don't pay the bills. Now I'm stuck drawing bird shit. I'm sure there are many of you watching this that have similar aspirations. You're interested in a particular hobby or skill set, but you can't invest in it because it doesn't make any money. And you start to wonder what the point of life is if you're just endlessly working and never having the time to invest yourself in the things that actually matter to you. I know this seems like a massive side tangent, but I promise it's all closely related. Divisive politics distracting you from your economic fate, your inability to invest in your passions due to economics, the lack of inspiring art in modern society, the normalization of slop and overconsumption. All of these things are closely related. Gen Z turned to politics to fill a void that was not being filled by actual values, ambition, creativity, and community. The days of pursuing your goals, using your individual talents to contribute to a society, and having a sense of purpose are all slipping through our fingertips. These political ideologies have given us a false sense of something to latch onto. It gives you the illusion that you have something to fight for. And that's the real reason I wanted to make this video. Because turning to politics for meaning is like opening a rusty tin can of expired beans when you're hungry. It will make you physically ill long before you are ever satiated. There's nothing wrong with having a strong political position. The point of this video isn't to vilify politics, it's to vilify distraction. I've noticed that people have a tendency to invest themselves most in things that they have little to no control over. People really care about politics more than they do about their own health. They'll spend 4 hours scrolling through political content but won't spend 30 minutes in the gym. It's important to at the very least be aware of the political and economic situation that you're in and to develop your own personal beliefs about how to navigate that landscape. But dwelling on it any further than that doesn't lead to anything productive. Gen Z is the least religious generation in American history, with almost 50% claiming they have no religious affiliation. But I'd make the argument that where previous generations had religion, Gen Z has politics, which might be even worse. With religion, at least we were one nation under God, which meant that regardless of
No, I mean, previous generations had community. That's what it was. So in terms of Gen Z being more attracted to politics, I think really they're attracted to some kind of community that centers on politics. I think that's more accurate to say.
of our personal beliefs, we stood together as a unified country. But without it, we are no.
I mean, a big reason why, that's another huge aspect of, she hasn't really said this, but she's hinting at it, she's implying it. There's been a huge challenge over the last several years to have some kind of monoculture anymore because everybody's so fragmented. We live in the age of fracture, as the historian Daniel Rogers said, wrote a whole book about it. I made a video about this as well. I mean, there are 4 reasons why we're divided. One of them is the fact that we're so fragmented thanks to social media, thanks to the fact that we have so many choices, you know, for media to consume. I mean, you have tens of thousands of Twitch channels you could be watching or listening to right now, but you chose to, for some reason, tune into this one. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Let's see here. Let me look up the other. I want to make sure I get these right. But the other 3 reasons why we're so divided. Because if I mess up my own information, then and I can't find it. Of course, I can't find it. I'm going to find this. I have so many documents. Okay, here it is. So the 4 reasons that I came up with, well, I already mentioned the rise of individualism, so fragmentation, the shrinking middle class, which I guess she did mention, the rise of identity politics, so our tribalistic instincts making our identities more important than ever. This is related to individualism on the rise, being on the rise. And then, yeah, echo chambers. Number 4 is the fact that we seek out information that reinforces our identities. Confirmation bias, seeking out information we agree with. We encounter information that we tend to go for information that reaffirms our identity, not hurts it, not goes against it. Algorithms reinforce that because we get stuck in our feeds. Yeah, so all those are problems. In terms of something I didn't mention in that video, or she hasn't really mentioned that much yet, is another huge issue is without churches, without some kind of institutions to build communities, you have people more isolated. And so you probably have heard this phrase, third spaces or third places before, where there are fewer places now where just the general public can hang out and have opportunities to meet new people. Usually schools, growing up, that's the main purpose of a school, is to socialize, to meet new people, to encounter people that are different than you. Libraries are another place like that, but more and more, you know, with fewer people going to church, we don't have these opportunities as much. Not everybody's riding the bus, you know, using public transit or going to the library. You might meet up at a coffee shop. You might hang out at a coffee shop, but even then you have to pay to hang out there, or you have to buy something to sit down. So in terms of free public places, the opportunities are fewer than they were in the past. Actually, if I ever started a business, that's what I would start. I would start some kind of community center where there'd be opportunities for people just to meet up, and you wouldn't have to feel pressured to buy something. Also, it would be like an event space where you could have events to support local artists. That's one of my bucket list things. I think that'd be really cool. But that could help. Places like that could help solve this crisis of the loneliness epidemic that's really been happening. There's a loneliness epidemic. A lot of people don't have very many good friends, unfortunately. Okay. And parasocial relationships, by the way, which I know I'm always shooting myself in the foot when I say this, because you have a parasocial relationship with me. But I mean, depending too much on parasocial relationships can also hurt your real life relationships. All right, let's wrap this video up. Sorry, I talk too much.
No longer unified under that faith. Instead, we're enemies, where each side holds the belief that the other party will cause nationwide catastrophe. When you put the phone down and have conversations in real life, you'll find a lot more normalcy and moderate opinions than the internet will lead you to believe exist. The more conversations you have, the more you'll realize that politics aren't everything. You can get along great with someone based on their actual attributes and shared hobbies, regardless of their political position. I have a feeling that at some point, things will eventually get bad enough where people will stop caring about each other's political ideologies. We will come to a point where there is such a great collective dread that everyone is in agreement that something needs to change. Hopefully by then, it's not too late.
Yeah, I agree with them. Looks like she has other Gen Z videos as well. I think they're very nonpartisan. I get those vibes, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, overall, something else I can mention here is algorithms also make us more divided in terms of the fact that they want us angry, because the more angry you are, the more likely it is you will react to a post. And if you react to it, that means it will attract more attention. And because we live in an attention economy, attention basically drives the economy, then what makes people angry or upset? To a lesser extent, really happy, really sad, but mostly just angry or scared is going to do best. I mean, you all know this. I'm not saying anything that you all don't know, but just it's important to remember that most people are not like you. Like, you watch my videos because you want to learn, you're curious, but most people are not like that. It's a lot of work to learn. Even if I try to make something fun and engaging and entertaining as I teach it, you still, to click on the video to begin with, you have to be at least somewhat curious and somewhat willing to learn. And I know that's why I will never have a channel as big as Mr. Beast. I've accepted that a long time ago, which is fine with me. I'm hoping, though, that we can change the culture overall and just promote a culture that fosters openness and curiosity, because that's the first step towards us understanding each other better and surviving as a species. Cool Banana did not like that video, did not like that girl. Maybe I'm tripping, but their tone in that video was kind of insufferable. I know, and most of you, I think, are millennials, right? Right? Yeah, like the tone is definitely, I don't know, though. That's why I watch it, because it's definitely a different tone than I typically watch, but I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, trying to watch a lot of younger content creators like that. No comment. Are you Gen X? It's okay if you are. Collaborate is greater than compete. Heck yeah, a lot of milk. Heck yeah. We got a Gen Z here. Add 2 Gen Zs. 3 Gen Zs. Heck yeah. Why do you not agree with their points? CJ13 Goat 69, who still to this day has the best username on here of everybody that tunes in. We want to hear a follow-up, okay? We got, so Cool Banana is Gen Z, but you've got to be an older Gen Z. I have a much easier time connecting with older Gen Z than I do younger Gen Z. A lot of people are Gen Z. Holy crap. Okay, well, maybe I'm just the only old dude. Waiting for the follow-up for ZJ13 Goat 69. Anyway, I do have to wrap it up here. I got to go to my daughter's event, but I would say just a reminder to send me videos that you want me to react to, but I do have one lined up already for next Friday. It is a video by Ninth City. It's about how to change your city. It's about local politics. So shout out to Iron Dragon for sending that, who is typically here, but I don't think they're here today. So good thing I didn't react to it. The mode of communication, yeah, I get that. Because they're just like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I struggle with that too. How do you play F major? Well, you just... this is out of tune now. But it's the top 2 strings in the first fret, 3rd string down, 2nd fret. It's a little bit harder to play because you have to put that. That's F major. Didn't think I'd be asked that. All right, we'll see you next week, same time, 9 a.m. Central. Thanks for being here. Never heard back from ZJ13 Goat69 though, so that's your homework. Okay? See you later. Have a good weekend.